DJ Event Planner will change the way you manage and run your business. Streamline all of your procedures and software into one easy-to-manage system. DJ Event Planner, the ultimate online planning tool.
And now, ladies and gentlemen, we have Dave Ternier and Jeremy Brech with Wedding Chat.
Hey, Dave. How are you?
Whoa.
What?
That was the greatest for the start of the show. So you said, how are you? And this roar of snowmobiles is going by in front of my house right now.
That's what I do.
Or
it's probably wolves. You're in Canada. It's probably wolves. Okay, let's stay focused. Here we go. Hey, Dave.
This is bizarre. It's a ridiculous amount of noise coming from all over around the house. Anyway, hi, Jeremy.
I'm going to mute Dave, and I will do this show on my own, it looks like, as he figures out his snowmobile thing.
I don't even own a snowmobile. Let's just Brian Poderoni showing up here.
Anyways, good evening, everybody. Man, this is the worst introduction opening to our show. We already lost all of our viewers. Just like that.
We're getting great comments along the chat right now.
Gosh.
Dave is going crazy. Only in Canada.
Only in Canada, yes. Only in Canada.
Oh, that was great. Well, for those who saw my little clip, my little promo clip that I did for John earlier, I mean, I was standing on a frozen lake. So, yeah, this is only in Canada. Well, down your way, too. You're just as much as us.
Yeah, we're pretty frozen right now, too. Actually, we're supposed to get like 50-degree weather this weekend. So that's Fahrenheit.
Wow.
Yeah.
Crazy.
So it's gonna be pretty nice. We're looking forward to it.
Very good.
So how was your weekend?
My weekend was, God, what did I do this weekend? It was a weekend off.
That's a good weekend.
It is. Love what I do, but
yeah,
look, I love my time off too.
Yeah, and it's such a hard thing for us, especially with you being a sole owner, me being a multi-op owner. It's hard to sometimes let go and say, well, we talked about this last week, say no sometimes. And I watched The Greatest Showman this weekend. I took my kids, the wife, went to that show, and it was a phenomenal show. They did a great job. I mean, casting was great. I thought the music was phenomenal. I heard so many people saying, I had to get the soundtrack as soon as I left the show. So I actually bought the soundtrack. I downloaded it on Amazon about 2 weeks ago and started listening to the music. And I'm like, man, this is really good. I'm excited to see the show. And it had a really good message. And I think everybody who runs a business, owns a business, does business, works hard at their job. I think everyone needs to go watch this film and really reflect on the message of what kind of is laid out through the entire storyline. So it's a very so let me back up. So the story is about,
because I know nothing about it. So for those of us watching, including me, who don't have a clue, give me
it's a musical. It's a musical, phenomenal music. But the storyline is about Barnum, the circus guy. Do you know the
Okay, yeah,
Barnum Bailey Circus?
yeah.
So it was TF or FT. See how much I actually paid attention to the names. It was TF or FT Barnum. That it was basically when he was a kid, he worked hard and he grew up in like just almost this rough life, this rough bringing up or upbringing. Sorry,
Mm-hmm.
where he always worked for the wealthy and they just treated him like dirt. And they always treated his dad like dirt. But then, hard work and dedication and this dream really evolved into something for him. And it was cool to see this, I have this vision, I have this goal, and I'm going to make this happen. I don't know what exactly that means yet, but I can see my future. And so he kind of like, as he aged, he met this girl when he was young. And as he grew older, one of his goals was to fall in love and marry this beautiful girl. And I mean, this isn't really going to give away the story, but he did that. And then he started working for the man basically. And I think so many DJs, we feel like we have to do that because we can't make a living doing our dream. And, we've proven that wrong. You can do what you love. You can run your business. You can own your business, have a dream, have goals, and make something happen. But the story kind of progresses and, he starts getting these new visions and these new goals and these new dreams. And then all of a sudden it starts taking away from why he's actually doing this, why he's living his dream out. And it kind of full circles on him and it comes back to reality. And like I said, I don't want to give away too much of this movie.
All right.
But, like I said, it really tells a great message. And I encourage anybody, even if you like musicals, don't like musicals, I encourage you to go see this film. It was phenomenal. They did, again, you got Hugh Jackman, Wolverine basically singing his songs. You have Zac Efron, which, I mean, if
you're a big fan,
if I was a teenage girl or a 20-some-year-old girl, I'm sure I would have been in love too. He's just phenomenal singer, and I didn't realize how good of a vocalist he was. And then my wife is like, well, he did make his way into show business through the High School Musical. I'm like, okay, yeah. So
that's
obviously that.
Yeah.
But great show. Like I said, dreamers, business people, go watch the show. It's great to dream, but remember why you're doing your dream. Remember why you're working so hard. And that's all I got.
Curious. Yeah. Were there some specific things that you can share that he did or that he had to give up to do what he was doing, or some things that made him bizarrely uncomfortable? Did you see some struggles like that?
He cheated and lied a lot. I'm not saying that's what you should go do, but he kind of thought outside of the box. It was what in his daughters actually kind of sparked his mind on this. Like I said, if you watch this with a business mind, you're gonna be like, oh my gosh, oh cool, yeah, okay, I get what he did there, so on and so on.
Okay.
And his daughter said, again, he had this museum and it was all these stuffed animals and these like big giraffes and elephants that were stuffed. And his daughters were like, no one wants to see that. You need to bring it to life. You need to give it life. You need to find something that moves and something that's living and something that people haven't seen before. And again, I think in our businesses, we have to do that as well. We have to look at what haven't people seen before? How can we wow them? And how can we get people talking about what we do to get more people in our doors or to more people to sit down with us for a sales consultation? How do you inspire them to get that, to make that happen? So like I said, there are so many great messages in that movie. I think, there's positives, there's negatives. I think overall, like I said, it's a great watch. I think everyone's going to enjoy it.
Got it. So Greatest Showman, is that what it's called?
Greatest Showman. Yep.
Very good. And it's in theaters now, folks.
It is in theaters now.
Have they sponsored this show? Because that'd be great.
They should.
Yeah, highly doubt that. Well, that's a great way to start. It's interesting that you, thinking outside the box and all those themes. It's interesting that you say that because, we had a request from, was it Carlos? Yeah, it wasn't Carlos. who was it? But he wanted to know what workshops that we've done that have made a huge impact in our careers and why. So talked about a great way to start this show, talking about, that movie, this guy who really thought outside the box. I guess, for as many people that have taken the workshops we have, it's still a relatively small number in relation to all the mobile DJs out there. So why don't we chat about this? Formal education. I'm going to quickly start because I know you have a bit more to say on that. I never took any formal education. I graduated high school and I went out. I was working retail right away. Didn't really want to know what I wanted to do. Have been kind of, spinning music through the senior years in high school, this type of thing. And I didn't do post-secondary. And to be honest, one of my regrets, and I hope to accomplish it one day. I got lots of years left to do that. I didn't do any post-secondary, formally speaking. So before we get into workshops, you did do a lot of post-secondary though, didn't you? Or some?
Yeah, no, I did. I graduated with a double major, 3 minors, and an emphasis. I actually went to school.
What's an emphasis? Sorry.
So basically it's not quite a minor. It's more of a focus.
Okay.
So you have your major, which is like, this is my degree. And then your minors are basically like kind of spin-offs from your major that you basically can get all the credits for and consider it a minor. And then an emphasis is, it's saying like, I want to go into media. Okay. Do you want to go into video media? Do you want to go into social media? Or do you want to go into, electronic media or whatever media?
Okay.
Or audio media. So there's a lot of different ways to say emphasis. There's a lot of direction you can kind of go with it. So I went to school for computer graphics, multimedia, web design. I wanted to be a web designer. I wanted to create graphics and design. And I'm going to be completely honest. It really was a great decision for me. And I have absolutely no regrets. So my thing was, I didn't know that this was going to be my profession. But the cool thing with the degree that I got, talking about computer graphics and multimedia web and design, that allows me to do what I do as a lighting designer. That allows me to do when it comes to weddings, because you look at everything as a piece of art now, as opposed to, yep, there's a wall, I'll put some uplights on that. Or here's a white sheet draping. Here's what I'm going to do with that. It allowed me to kind of look at a design aspect. And I mean, there's wedding planners that come to me and say, here's their theme. What do you think? What should we do? And I'm not saying I'm a wedding planner by any means, but to have the ability to look at something and be creative with it. I mean, you've seen, I built a TIE fighter. I've designed the Death Star inside of a castle. I've created a jungle safari, and basically I love to build. I love to design. I love to create. And my degree was very helpful when it comes to, when you look at color mixing, using the right colors for the right tones and the right themes. There's classes that I took to achieve my degree. And I'm glad I did it. My DJ company, or, me DJing, is basically what paid my way through college. I never had to take out a loan. I basically, I made money through my DJ business. I put it aside. And when it came to school, I just paid for it right away. So nice. I encourage people to do that. Don't ever get yourself into a ton of debt, because it will own you for the rest of your life.
Yeah, that's tough. That is very tough, isn't it?
So you decided not to go out for secondary because you just decided what?
It's funny. I don't know why I didn't. And in case people are wondering if we're going to get to workshops here, we are going to shortly, but we wanted to give everybody kind of the full background. I guess it's a little odd that I didn't. I mean, my father, he went to post-secondary, he got a BA in mathematics. My mom did some as well. And she, in fact, took a lot of schooling well into her adult life as well. She has a master's degree and all kinds of different things now. So it's maybe a little surprising that I didn't go and chase anything, but I don't know. I just, coming out of high school, I was just glad to be done. I mean, I had okay marks. I wasn't stellar by any means. And I was just working. And so I just carried on like that. I really can't say that there was a conversation about me going or not going. It just didn't happen.
So let me back up a second, because you said it's a goal, you want to do it, you plan to do it. Why deciding to go back now?
Well, I'm not going back now per se.
I'm sorry, not going back, but why? Explain what you were talking about.
So I'm 35 right now, halfway to 70, as I've been joking for the last year. And I think it's over the last decade, maybe over the last 5, 6, 7 years, that I have really, 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 really begun to just love and become fascinated with the idea of learning.
Yeah.
Okay. If we're to be really honest, the first bit of learning I did post grade 12 was, our Marbecca workshop that I went to back in 2011. I had never subjected myself to anything like that. And, and I look at my father, who, God, my dad's forgotten more than I'll probably ever know in my life. The man devours books like nothing else.
Yeah.
My sister, she went and got a degree. She has a degree in languages and linguistics. She's completely fluent in English, French, German, Spanish, Dutch. It's probably some that I'm missing. And I guess I just, it doesn't tie in directly to her work, but it certainly makes her life a lot more rich, a lot more rich.
Yeah.
And I'd like to add some elements of that to Dave Ternier. I guess one day it'll be Dave Ternier 4.0 or 5.0, whatever it might be.
That's cool.
Yeah, I guess I've developed more of an appreciation for it over the last 5-10 years. And that leads me to, look, one day I'm going to go take some university classes or whatever it might be it distance or in person.
Well, and I think, one thing that people should be keeping in mind is, even though you're not going to get a degree or not going to college, still think about going to some of those secondary classes. And I think we've talked about this numerous times, where if you have an improv class, or if you have a speech class, if you have a electronics class or a media class that you can take, I would definitely encourage that. I talk about it in my seminars that I do, that, again, going and getting a college degree and learning about color theory and learning about design elements and learning about mixing and paint and, just there's so many different things that you learn in college. Even though you're not going to get your degree, go take some of those classes, because those have been huge for me. I never thought that there was a lot of value there until you actually do get out in the real world and you're like, oh, so that's why I needed to take that class.
Right.
It's kind of like algebra. People don't know why they take algebra, but the next thing you know, it's like, I actually could use that.
Right. And I will say, just real quick, just to maybe acknowledge a bit of an elephant in the room, there's probably a lot of people watching right now going, guys, like, seriously, can you get to something I can use? I'm a DJ. This is way beyond me. I guess I'd like people to think that, look, do you want to make this a full-time career and passion? Do you love it so much that you would do, a lot to make it your life? And I don't mean love it so much that it's a great hobby of yours. That's completely respectable. That I'm not saying it isn't, but if you, I hope that with Jer and I spending this time together like we do, that maybe we'll inspire that one person to take the leap and go, damn it, you know what? Yeah. This is really fun. And I want to do just this for the rest of my life. And I don't want to be just scraping by either. I want to actually help sustain my family's income and all that type of stuff.
Dave, I was just thinking, because, people that look at something and they say, how does this pay itself off? Or how is this investment? Why should I invest? And I want people should think of it like this. Think about when you want to raise the value in your house. What do? Do you do nothing? Do you invest? Do you maybe buy tile and lay tile in your house to raise the value of your house and then make your house more attractive to the next buyer? It's things like that. You have to spend money. You have to put blood, sweat, and tears into it to actually achieve something and to get somewhere. And I think, like you said, we've taken workshops, we've taken classes, we've spent a lot of money, but you know what? We have definitely made our return on investment. And I think that is extremely important for people to don't be afraid to make a financial investment. It it will allow you to run your business as a business and not just a hobby anymore. You can actually make a living like we do.
Right. And yeah, I mean, if you think you're really, really happy making X number of dollars, think of how happy you'll become when you're making triple or quadruple that, and, able to, put some money away for attending whatever it is you want to attend in the business,
Yeah.
Anyway, let's segue to, so obviously your formal post-secondary training has impacted you greatly in your lighting design, and you've been recognized well for it, being selected to work with Chauvet, to do the work you've done for Mobile Beat. And, if memory serves me right, weddings that you have done have been featured on the front cover of magazines, this type of thing. I mean, you've been honored very respectfully, I think, for that.
Thank you. Yeah.
Outside of formal training, and that doesn't even sound right, I want to call it formal. What workshops, though, have you taken post, or I guess have we taken post? I mean, I think you and I have followed the same path in a lot of regards here, but
yeah.
Most impactful for you. Let's run down the list.
Before I know, here we go again, right? Sidetrack. Whoops. Almost lost my microphone.
Squirrel.
Sidetrack. Okay. Before we go into workshops, what I want people to understand is watching a YouTube video and watching an online conversation like this. Although you might be learning something, it's not a workshop. You can get so much more out of a one-on-one conversation with somebody. You can get so much more with the personal, the personal communications face to face than you can over a conference call like this. I actually have, I just got done doing an online training with somebody. And, I mean, it was, I was on his computer, I was watching his computer. He was watching my computer. We were watching each other, and that's great, but that's not a workshop. All that is just education, and education is fantastic, but workshops are truly what gives back to you as a performer. Mm-hmm. So now that I got that off my chest, my first workshop was the entertainment experience with Bill Herman.
That was your first one?
That was my first one ever. Yeah. Talk about eye-opening.
No kidding. Jeez. Cool.
Yeah. So I took the very first one that they ever did up in Minneapolis or St. Paul. And it was, like I said, I mean, that was such an eye-opener for me. If you've taken that workshop, right?
Yeah, I have. Yeah.
So that workshop, it started at like 9 a.m. I could have been done at 11:30 in the morning, and I would have been good. I would have had enough information to take away and call it worth my time and worth my money. And that's actually why I took it 2 times, because the first time was that, Jeremy, you suck. You think you know what you're doing, but you really don't. And, that's the thing. People always told me, oh, you're so good. You're so great. You do a fantastic job. You're amazing. But when you have your own peers telling you you can be better, and then you start learning from them, and you start taking their education, you start taking their workshops, you realize how much you've not been doing. And I think Mitch talked about this all the time. You can do the same wedding for 18 years, but if nothing ever changes, gosh, I don't even know how he says it. Is Mitch on?
The 18 years experience. If it's just, the same year 18 times.
Yeah. If it's the same wedding 18 times, you're not growing. Right. So I think that's kind of really important for people to be thinking about. But yeah, entertainment experience was my first ever.
Wow. That would have been like trying to drink water coming out of a fire hose. Damn.
Yeah.
I mean, I remember, well, we'll get to my first entertainment experience. We'll get to my first experience with entertainment experience in just a moment. My first workshop was Bronze Marbecca workshop in August of 2011. And man, I can't imagine the entertainment experience having been my first workshop. Dude, I'm just reeling about that. Man. Anyway, so yeah, that was my first workshop. Brian Pudwerney, local colleague and friend from this area. He and I drove the 8 hours from here down to Minneapolis for this wow, we didn't really know what it was. We were like, man,
I was there with you guys. That was my very first Marbecca. That's when we first met.
that was the day. And
I think my job was to introduce Brian Pardwarne. And
was it really?
Try saying that last name without knowing anything about the guy. I guarantee I just ripped him, and he was just like, I give up. I'll just come up.
Oh, God. Well, I don't know if I'm sure you and I have probably talked about this before, but Brian will tell you to this day, at least this is how I remember it. You know, he and I just honestly weren't sure if we were going back to day 2. I mean, we had.
I didn't know about this. Tell me about that.
So here we are. We've both been DJing since the mid 90s. We're driving down to this thing, whatever it's probably going to be. I mean, how hard can this be? Okay. What can we learn in our workshop on MCing? Anyway,
MCing in Canada didn't really even exist. Not from the DJ anyways.
Not from a DJ point of view. No, it's picked up a lot in the last 5 years now, but that time, no. So anyway, Brian, we just, we came out of day 1 just going like, holy, John, am I allowed to swear on here?
No, anyway. I don't think you are allowed to.
Holy beep. We'd been completely blindsided with, the phrase, you don't know what you don't know. Well, it hurt like a ton of bricks that day. Whereas Randy Bartlett he's reworded that phrase. He likes to refer to it as unconscious incompetence. Man, we became very conscious of our incompetence that day. Let me tell you, it was mind blowing. Now I don't want to scare people off from the workshop, because Brian and I ended up, obviously we stayed for day 2, obviously, and we came out of it fired right up, ready to take over the world. And if anybody here is wondering if it's worth it, I'll just say that on that 8-hour drive back home, Brian and I, on that drive, gave ourselves $500 per event raises.
Cool. We
were like, screw it. 500 more. Let's go.
Yeah.
And we never looked back.
That's awesome.
We never looked back. And the wording that I use is this very carefully. I have since subjected myself to many more of those workshops, because subjected is the only word. And I use that word lovingly. And I know Mark and Rebecca know what that means, but yeah, they're bizarre experiences that'll push you to places. Yeah. You just didn't know.
You know, what's kind of crazy is, I knew of Mark Farrell. I've heard the Getting What You're Worth, and I saw him at Mobile Beat a couple years back. And I contacted Mitch, and Mitch is like, hey, Bill Herman, this guy, he has a one-day seminar or a one-day workshop. You should definitely check it out. So that's what got me to the entertainment experience. And I think I kind of gave you a little bit of this in the past, but then I was looking through the Disc Jockey newspaper, and I saw there was an ad for Marbecca workshops, and Mitch comes over and he's like, you need to take that. And I'm like, what? I'm like, I didn't even know that Mark had a workshop. And so I took that workshop, and that was really like, I just never looked back. And you talked about, is it worth the investment? I have actually sent most of my DJs, I would say 80% of my DJs I have sent to a Marbecca workshop. They have taken minimum bronze MC. Most of them have taken silver MC. A couple of them have taken love story. And when I talk to my couples, I'll let them know that, they're like, well, what's the difference between this guy and this guy? I'm like, well, he doesn't do a love story. Well, could he do a love story? No, because he hasn't trained in it. I'm not going to pretend he can do it just to make this sale. If you want the love story, I'm going to recommend moving up to a higher level of entertainer.
That's a really, really smart thinking. I respect that a lot. Yeah.
Yeah. And I mean, it really comes down to respecting the art of what Mark teaches you. And instead of me saying, oh yeah, I can just teach you how to do a love story. It's not like that. It really is something that you have to learn from the teacher, instead of playing telephone. Like, well, this is what I learned from Mark, and this is what I'm going to teach you.
Playing telephone. That is such a great example.
So, yeah, I mean, it's like I said, the Marbecca workshops, truthfully, I have probably spent, gosh, since I've started, I bet we have spent over 28, maybe 30 grand on Marbecca workshops.
Yeah.
I know I personally have taken 12 or 13. I think that was
no. What?
Marbecca workshops. Yeah.
Whew, I got some catching up to do.
Yeah. I was tied with, oh man,
Ed Spencer.
Ed Spencer. Yeah. I was tied with Ed Spencer, and I think I surpassed him with 13, unless he's done one since the last time.
I don't think he has. I haven't seen his name popping up in those workshops lately. So
yeah. So yeah, I'm at 13. I personally have been to 13 Marbecca workshops.
Wow. Yeah, it's I do intend to write a blog post about, what I've spent on workshops one day, but some quick mental math. I'm in and around the $20,000 mark, and before people kind of let their chairs fall over with that number. I mean, 5 of my weddings today pay for that.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, let that sink in for a little bit. It's like just getting a small university degree and then having a career based off. What is so unusual about that?
It's like the game of life.
Hello. I mean, people are going out and getting degrees all the time. And God, if university people could get a degree for only 20 grand, don't you think everybody would be jumping all over it?
Right. That's almost like saying an accountant. It's like saying an accountant could just go out and just crunch numbers without having a degree, or a CPA. I think it's a little bit higher, a CPA. You have to go get educated. You have to take these exams. You have to take this, you have to take that. And to me, I think these workshops that's our secondary education. This is our opportunity to make yourself better and become respected as a professional.
Yeah, true that. Now, real quick mention here, because I noticed this online earlier tonight. There are 4 seats left for Marbecca workshops this coming March. Mark and Rebecca have not paid me or told me to say this, for anybody wondering. I get my business through word of mouth. I want to give word of mouth to them. So there are 2 seats available left in Bronze MC, March 5th and 6th in Vegas, and 2 seats left in Bronze Love Story, March 12th and 13th.
I've actually have one of my guys, and again, this is the investment I make because I know I get a return on investment. I pay for his flights, I pay for his food, pay for his hotel, I pay for his workshop. I just need him to give his time and his dedication to it. And like I said, it's always paid dividends for us. We've been very fortunate because Mark and Rebecca know how we work as a business. They know what I expect out of my DJs and my entertainers. And they always do a phenomenal job of, I'm going to mold you into you. I'm not going to make you Jeremy, because one of my DJs once said, he took a workshop with Mark and Rebecca, and he said, well, I want to be like Jeremy. And he's even told me, Jeremy is well respected in his market, and I want to do what he does because people love what he does. I said, they love what I do. I told him, I said, they love what I do because I'm me. And that's one thing that you learn in these workshops is to be yourself and be genuine. And so, it's more of a don't act like me, act like you in a professional manner as a master of ceremonies. And I think that's really important. I think that's important for people to understand is Mark isn't going to make you Mark.
That's true.
Or Bill isn't going to make you Bill. What they're going to do is they're going to make you a better you. They're going to understand who you are, what your personality is, and then how you can portray that as an MC in a professional level.
Yeah. Yeah, completely true. Okay, so we're talking all night about this. So what else have you taken, Jer? I'm just going to jump in quick. So yeah, I took the entertainment experience as well. I've taken it once formally and facilitated it once as well. So pretty much took it twice. Remarkable experience. I will just one quick snippet for me. I had taken a couple of Marbecca's by the time I took entertainment experience. And it was funny because, and this maybe explains my surprise that it was your first workshop. When I did take an entertainment experience, I came away from it going, that was a little too advanced for me. I know I got some stuff out of it, and there's a funny end to this. I said to myself at the time, I wish I wasn't here. I wish I was here because I would have got more out of it.
Yeah.
Well, you know what? A couple of years later, I catch myself doing things, ask myself, why am I doing things that way? And of course, it ties back to entertainment experience.
Yeah.
So I did get more out of it than I realized. And I mean, I've gotten so much out of it since. So entertainment experience, I think, and I've heard this from a few other people too, it might be one of those things where you don't instantly have those big aha moments, maybe as frequently as, at least for me, I did in Marbeka, but they come with time.
Yeah.
Is that fair to say?
Yeah, no, absolutely. I was just gonna say that it's not one of those things. It's not a workshop where you walk and say, awesome, I got this. Because Build does not give you the answers. All Build does is give you the direction to the answers that you need to answer in the future.
Yeah.
And the answers that you need for your couples and your clients.
Yeah.
So he's not going to say, here, guys, get out your notebook and write down these things and go do them. It's ask yourself these questions, do these things to understand. And I think there's a lot of self-development that happens in that workshop because, yeah, like you said, is it an advanced workshop? To me, I believe it is.
Oh, yeah.
Does it cost more than some other workshops? Absolutely. But if you are taking things at an advanced level, you already should be making more money, and this should not be a workshop that you can't say you cannot afford.
Yeah.
So, yeah, other workshops that I've taken, and here's the thing: there's workshops that are kind of all over the board. Okay, think about, let's see. Well, how about Mitch and Vicky's workshops? Okay, I've taken them. I know you've probably taken them. Vicky has a personalities workshop, and people are probably thinking, why do you have to take a workshop on personalities? But really, you as an entertainer, you have to be able to connect with somebody. You as a salesperson, you have to be able to connect with somebody. You as a networker have to be able to connect. You as everything. You have to be able to understand personalities, how you can relate to those personalities, and how you mesh with those personalities. So to me, Vicky does a phenomenal job with what she does in her workshop. Creative Connections, Mitch's sales workshops that he does, phenomenal workshop if you do sales in your business. If you don't do sales, don't worry about it, but send a salesperson.
Yeah.
So to me, that Mitch and Vicky do a phenomenal job. I've actually have not had the opportunity to take Randy Bartlett's workshop because when I signed up for it, he said, this isn't the right skill level for you. Because his microphone workshop is a beginner's level workshop. And that to me is a true professional, someone who can say, you know what, I would love your money, but I don't think that this is the right fit for you. And you as a salesperson or you as an event professional, you should be able to say that to your client if they're not a good fit for you. So I have not taken Randy's workshop, but that's also a really good workshop. I know a lot of people love that one as well.
Yeah, I took Randy's level 2 workshop a couple of years ago. And
I have not seen a level 2 workshop from him.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't really level 2. It was just kidding, Randy. It was good. I mean, obviously, functionally very different than Marbeka workshops. Marbeka, I mean, for anybody that knows Mark is
passionate.
Yeah, and Randy's passionate as well, but Mark is here. Structure is so important to Mark.
Yeah.
And that may or may not be something that you're comfortable with, you watching Jeremy and I chat with this evening, but just allow Mark to put a little bit of that in, because from that structure, you get to create so much. But yeah, Randy's workshop was really, really fascinating as well, and really, really wonderful to take. If you get the chance, I mean, please go and take it.
Yeah. Let's talk about non-structure, but yet still a very effective workshop. And I know you and I took this together. It was the Make It Grand workshop.
Yes.
It's a very. I didn't take it twice.
Yeah.
But I did send some of my guys to it. So, so the reason I say it's not very structured is because Peter and Liz Daly put this thing. Peter Mary and Liz Daly put this workshop on, and they are a very, very fun group. So it's, here, let's here, you got to check this out. You got to see this. But you're always learning from the things that they say, sidetracked or squirrel, you're always learning from those moments. I think that was a great workshop. It was one of those workshops. I don't know how many in my market, and I don't know how many people have actually taken it. But if you want to make some killer grand entrances, definitely something to look at is the Make It Grand. Or I think they have Take Your Stage. I haven't taken that one.
Yeah, there's a variety of workshops. I love Make It Grand. Even though, as again, Podworny's coming up again. I remember taking Make It Grand with Brian and God, who else was in that? Glenn Mackay, if you're watching, I think you were in that workshop too. Anyway, I learned a lot about some people and their skill in writing for comedy, and that was not my strength. And I will say, even to this day, maybe it's not a huge strength of mine. Brian wrote some killer stuff. Like,
I was in that.
You were in that one too? Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I was like, just like jaw on the floor going, how do you make this happen? It was really, really great to learn from, not only from Peter and Liz, but watching what everybody else came up with and how they did was really, really fascinating. So I would highly recommend that. I mean, grand entrances, for those that don't know, I mean, look, if you can set a tone, if you can set a level of expectation with very first few moments of an evening, all it does is set the bar. People know that it's going to be an amazing night if you can start off in such a positive and such a remarkable way.
Absolutely.
So I don't want to move on past Vicky's thing. I just want to do a quick comment about Vicky's. I echo everything you've said, Jer. I'm also going to say this one line, and this might sound weird, but bang for the buck, I've not learned anything as valuable as I have from Vicky. Okay? Any training you do with Vicky and Mitch is going to be priced adequately. But what I'm trying to say is what I've learned in relation to the dollars spent, I don't know if anything else comes close.
Yeah.
I don't know. The whole personalities end of thing has really just seeped into every pore of my being. I love that stuff now. Yeah. And that was something that, again, I knew very little about. And again, if you see a common theme here, folks, Dave wanting to maybe someday do some post-secondary, you see where this is all coming from, right?
Yep.
Learning all these things going, damn, that's cool.
So workshops that we've talked about that I have not had an opportunity, PhDJ, still have not had an opportunity for that. I was hoping to take it while in Vegas this upcoming March, but I have to get back for a show and I have to miss it. So, gosh, it's on my bucket list. I've told Joe Bunn, I'm not going to say the other guy's name because we're not going to drink tonight. I've told Joe Bunn that I will make that happen. And he said, when you make that happen, I will come to South Dakota to come visit you. So I'm like, okay, that's a good trade-off.
Very nice. Very nice.
Oh, man.
I
have more. I just can't remember all of them.
Professional Process. Have you taken that?
Yeah. Professional Process. Yep. That one was good. That's good for, I would say that's good for beginners to intermediates. If you're advanced, you might be past some of the things that come up in that workshop, but overall, I think it's a great workshop for everybody. I think it's really strong for people who are just getting started and people who are kind of, I'm past the beginner's point. I'm not yet to the advanced point.
Right.
But the nice thing with his is you take it once, you pay once, and then every other time it happens, you get to be there for free. It's a refresher at no cost. So,
which at the time it was. We don't know what Peter's doing now.
Oh yeah, sorry, Peter.
Just in case. I will say this though about Professional Process. I've taken that twice as well. Loved it. It is like nothing else. Like doesn't even come close to any other workshop that's out there. And while Jeremy may have implied that Make It Grand had a lot less structure than a Rebecca workshop, which is very, very true, I will say Professional Process is a bit of a flip side. I learned a pile of structure in there.
Yeah.
Which was really, really, really huge for me. Peter puts a lot of effort into Professional Process. I mean,
he does a great job.
The booklet and everything. I mean, yeah, it's huge value, huge value as far as I'm concerned.
Technical wise, workshops that I've taken for technical aspects, I've taken the audio symposium, which is going to be coming up here in the next couple months. If you have not taken that, I would highly recommend taking the audio symposium. If you want to know, are you coming?
Yeah, audio and lighting. I'm there for both of them, baby.
Right. And lighting symposium was the other one I was going to talk about. I've taken that one. I've also spoke at that one. And I've also had, I loved when ADJA at their Las Vegas show, I loved when they had the breakout workshops that kind of happened. Like Mitch had his, and I actually had one a couple years back. I loved that because it allowed you to really focus on like a one-on-one atmosphere, a classroom atmosphere, as opposed to a lecture. Yeah. So hopefully, you know, in the future, some more other shows start bringing some of that stuff back. I'm going to let you, I've got one final thought that I've seen has been trending on Facebook, but if you have anything else, I'm going to let you speak. And then I want to give you my final thoughts with DJ Jer.
Oh boy. Thanks for sticking with us, everybody. 48 minutes in. Dang, John's
I know. It feels like crap. We got to hurry.
Yeah. You know, my final thought is this. Of course, I'm just doing the checklist. I mean, look, I'm sure I've forgotten workshops as well that I've taken. Dang. But my final thought is this. I would not condone, generally speaking, anybody going out and maxing a credit card for, you know, a lot of things. If I was to ever do that, though, the lack of frequency that Marbecca workshops, you know, operate on is such that I would maybe say, I don't care if you have to beg, borrow, or steal. Okay, don't steal. Yeah. But try to get to one of those workshops because they don't happen very often. Once a year, generally around Mobile Beat, maybe a second time a year somewhere else. But Mark and Rebecca's ability to produce these workshops is limited, which I honestly, I think just drives their value up even higher. So do what you have to get there. Look, a flight to Vegas isn't a lot of money. You know, a couple nights hotel, you can take a red-eye flight back and that'll save you a night in a hotel if you can book it appropriately. And just so that one person, somebody I saw in the chat here, yes, the workshop happens in Vegas. Kind of. It's actually in Henderson, just outside of Vegas. It's a cab ride to the hotel. So it doesn't take place at Mobile Beat. I know there was some confusion in the chat. Some people saying, oh, I thought you weren't going to Mobile Beat. And the guy's like, no, I'm going to the workshop. I chose that instead of Mobile Beat this year. But yeah, do what you have to get there. If you need to put $1,000 on the credit card that you don't want to, this might be the one time I would say to do it. So that's my final thought.
Cool. All right. You ready for my final thought?
Don't eat Tide pucks.
No, it does sound delicious though. No, what I seen kind of floating around on Facebook, and I actually messaged Mark just one-on-one about this. He's not in the industry. He's not a DJ anymore. So why would I listen to him? Why would I listen to anybody who doesn't live it? Yeah. To me, that just, I don't understand that concept. That's like, and some people had some really great points. They're like, you know, look at some of these football coaches. They don't play anymore, but they're coaching. So do the football players say, you know what? You haven't played the game for years. I'm not going to listen to you. It's the same thing when you look at a college professor. A college professor could have been an amazing chemist, and now they have a job as a professor to teach the next line of chemists to come up and do something great. So are you not going to listen to that teacher? To me, I just didn't understand all of the bickering about that conversation. I didn't understand why it even made sense for people to argue when, if you haven't taken the workshop, then just stay quiet, just stay silent. Because really all you're trying to do is be negative because you haven't seen the positive, because you haven't taken the actual workshop and achieved something from it. So that's my final thought is, before you start bashing something, go try it, give it a shot. If you don't like it, then go ahead and spread your words all over social media. Who cares? People can hide behind social media. You can't hide behind the truth of actually taking something and then giving your remarks.
Unconscious incompetence. I've got it about many a thing, and I know everybody watching this does too. Be aware of it, folks.
Yeah.
Well done, Jer.
I'm Jeremy Brech. Have a great night.
I'm Dave Ternier. Cheers, everyone.